How do Mime Artists? Welcome to the last set of new main stages that have just been released in Pokemon Shuffle. The first one, number 661, we've come a long way in a short space of time, is Sandshrew. Going in with Shiny Gyarados, I've also brought Volcanion, and there's also, just for that wonderful ability, we have Ash Greninja. Between all of them, they can do an awful lot of damage. You know, Ash Greninja has got the wonderful Unity power. Volcanion's very good as well for Risk Taker, but this is just a normal free Pokemon stage. There are quite a few disruptions, but they're breakable blocks. They don't really matter. For the most part, you'll get almost all of them in a good enough combo, and the combos are fine. You've got the wonderful shiny Gyarados here just to be able to really help make sure that you're getting some fantastic combos. If you're not able to S rank it, +5 moves is all you will need. It's very nice, some of these new stages, that you don't need a lot of coins, maybe just a +5 moves, and that's the same with this stage. It's very simple, it's just a normal free Pokemon stage that we have seen umpteen times already in this game. It's nice, it's a delightful change from the more difficult boss stages at the end of every set of 10. There we go, 2 moves left. I just stick a +5 moves on there and I'll have the S rank next time. Next up here we have Tepig. This very similar team. I just threw in Manaphy with it. Manaphy has got the eject ++ power just to get rid of those Tepigs. It seems possible that in the next update we might get some more of the, I think we might get Emboar, Pokemon like that, as we had Grovyle in the last set of 10, I believe it was, so there might be something along those lines, just a little bit of speculation there. But this is not too difficult of a stage itself. You get quite a few Tepig on the stage, but if you're lucky and you can make some of those matches with the Manaphys, it's completely fine. It's not that difficult of a stage to do. Shiny Gyarados is very much helping here. Mine's is fully candied, but I don't think it takes that many. It's fully leveled, it's all the way, I think there's 3 Rise Max levels on it, which is the most it can have, which makes it a very good Mega to be using in a situation like this, where there's not that many disruptions, there's just occasionally a few Tepigs. And to get the S rank for this one, I think probably just a +5 moves as well. Just making, in watching some of this footage back, there are quite a few different moves I would have made if I'd been a little bit more cognizant at the time. But that's just what happens when you've been making quite a few videos in one day. You do start to see a few more slips than usual, but I think with just a +5 moves, anyone could have that stage to an S rank quite easily. This next one is a little bit more difficult, however. Steelix. Going in Mega Tyranitar, which I have now been reliably informed and have done it myself. There are new Rise Max levels on quite a few Pokemon. The Buzzwole, the Meloetta and the Mega Tyranitar can all now have new and better Rise Max levels. Tyranitar I think is 5, Buzzwole goes up 7 and Meloetta goes up another 5, I believe. So still quite, your Pokemon could be a lot better than this by the time that you're doing them. With some of the new Rise Max levels, give them a shot, see how they go, work with them. Because a lot of these Pokemon are some of the best ones we have in the game just now. The Ho-Oh has been skill swapped for Nosedive, which is incredibly powerful. Buzzwole is really good for the Jet Punch, I think is what it's called, the Jet Punch ability, where it just does a lot more damage when you make a match of 4, which it's a fairly normal ability that we see. I think it's on all of the starters from the Alolan region. It's a good ability to have, and I think mine's a skill level 3 or 4, so it's been leveled up quite a lot to be as powerful as it can be. If you wanted, you could always take along something like a Talonflame for block smash, just in situations like there where I wasn't really able to get a Tyranitar match, and there are quite a few unbreakable blocks. It'd be better to take along a super effective block smash plus plus, but I don't believe there is one of those. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that there is any of those. I think Gallade would be fine as well, but that's just block smash plus. If you want to take along one of those for a little bit of extra safety, feel free to switch out whichever of these you like the least. It's just nice to have 3 Pokemon that can do an awful lot of damage between them. As you might have noticed, I was a little bit slow making a few of the matches on this level, not getting 3 every time, tapping 3 times for the Mega Tyranitar, and that does happen occasionally. It's unfortunate. It's always good to get as many of those taps as possible, but I'd say it's sometimes better just to make sure you're putting them in the right place, not messing about with some of the combos that you could get from them, or maybe accidentally getting rid of a Tyranitar itself, because they are very good to have, very precious, and you wouldn't want to get rid of them. Next up here we have Castform, going on from the other 2 sets of main stages today. It's another puzzle stage. With puzzle stages, it's quite good to take along a +5 moves. That way, usually puzzles can take about 5 moves, so it just kind of works out relatively well with how you've been... It works relatively well with maintaining the S rank, that may be a little bit more tricky just because you've used quite a few moves, just trying to get rid of all of those puzzle blocks or Pokemon. And the team here, full grass team. If you want to swap out Mega Sceptile, that's fine, because there are an ungodly amount of unbreakable blocks that it's not very good against. That's why Tapu Bulu is here, but as you can see, Tapu Bulu wasn't really there for the first few matches when it was very necessary. Thankfully there's not a lot of HP on this Pokemon, so if you get one of those super arrows with the Decidueye, it can be very helpful to getting you a long way towards beating it with an S rank. With this, just a +5 moves is going to be enough to get you the S rank. You might need to do it once or twice, but you wouldn't really need anything more than that. As long as you get some good matches, if you've got some Tapu Bulus at the start after the puzzle, even better. And there we go, 6 moves left. %, it's okay. With what would have just been 1 move left, there's not really much more you could expect, and just doing it another couple of times you'll be able to catch it without any bother. A nice little S rank that goes along with some of the new expert stages. Next up is Pignite, and this may look like a strange team. I do have some things you could do a little bit differently. I'd say Pignite is very necessary, and if you have Oshawott, for some reason I must have missed out on catching Oshawott. It must be in an earlier stage somewhere. I'll have a nosy for it and try this stage again. But if you've got Pignite, take that along, as it will disrupt itself a lot. If you've got Oshawott, you can take that along. That's why the Manaphy is here, just to get rid of them. As you see, a lot of them do show up on the stage, but it might be better to take the Oshawott than the Manaphy. The Manaphy was still there from when I was trying to do it without either the Tepig or the Oshawotts, but there are just too many on the stage to make it really viable. So as you can see, it's just every couple of turns there will be an awful lot of disruptions of the Tepigs and the Pignites and the Oshawotts. Tyranitar I think is pretty good here. It can get rid of quite a few at once. You're probably sick of seeing this Pokemon. I'm, well, not sick of using it, it's a very good Pokemon. Now that it can be leveled up even more, it's going to be even better. So feel free to swap out the Manaphy. If you wanted something with a little bit more attack power, feel free to try that as opposed to the Oshawott. You could try Volcanion, something like that may work quite well in this team. You wouldn't want something like the Wailord that uses the big wave that necessitates you have all water types, because there are quite a few types. You could even take along something like a Silvally. That would be quite good in this. You've got water, you've got ground, you've got fire. Silvally could fit in this quite well. So just some last obnoxious Oshawotts on the field there. It's not that tricky of a stage. To S-rank it, maybe just working through trying to get the team of, if you want the Pignites, the Oshawotts, the Silvallies. Manaphy I think is definitely not the right choice there. See what you feel like, give it a shot, maybe a +5 moves, and I can't think that much more than that will be needed. Next up is the Devil stage, stage 666, Drowsy, and given that it's an unheathenly stage, it's quite easy. It's just relatively simple, not too shabby to keep the meme alive. Silvally, it's good, does a lot of damage for different types of Pokemon. Here we've got Dark, Ghost and Normal. Very helpful for just making sure you get the S rank. Like the other 3 Pokemon stage earlier, there will be a couple of breakable blocks. It's fine, you can just get through them, it's not too difficult. Making sure you get the typeless combos for the big combo scores, making sure that you're able to beat the stage as simply and as quickly as possible, because you don't want some of the endless combos that go on for into the hundreds. As nice as they can be, you just want to beat the stage. Get on to the next one, because we have the Shining Xerneas as the last one. Doesn't really look as nice as the Shining Vettel in my mind, but we will see it in due season. And next up here we have Crobat. Going in, can you guess? Mega Tyranitar. There's also Tapu Lele. It's very good for getting rid of some of the ice blocks on the stage, because there will be an awful lot of them. We've also got Garchomp. Just for, it's powerful, I think mine's is close to max level. It's also Dragon Talon, I think's the ability, which is pretty good, and Landorus again, close to max leveled. And Risk Taker is always pretty much a safe bet. It may not always work, but it's pretty good. It's a good ability to have on a team. So as you can see, just every couple of turns there will be some ice blocks on the stage. I wouldn't really say you need a Barrier Bash Pokemon. I don't think there are any fantastic super effective ones. I think Tapu Lele is the best you'll find for doing what you want. in getting rid of as many of the ice blocks as possible. Doesn't always work, but it's a good one to have. I did think of taking along something like an Alakazam, but I wasn't exactly sure because there are quite a few turns in this run when you've not got any ice blocks on the stage, and Tyranitar, if it's on the stage, it's going to do wonderfully. It's going to make matches. Even if your combo isn't good, it's always putting out quite good damage output, and when you can now be able to level it up much higher, it's a lot better. Well, better than it already was, and it was already one of the best megas in the game. Other Pokemon you can level up in the update are the Ultra Beasts, which is very good. I've already got my Buzzwole with a couple of Raise Max levels. I think my Celesteela has a couple as well, so throughout the week be working on getting them a little bit more powerful, as I think, to my mind, those are the best ones that are out there just now. I think we're still missing the Guzzlord, and there are quite a few in the Ultra Sun that we'll no doubt get in the new year at some point. I think we're also missing Pheromosa. That one will maybe be out in the next couple of weeks. That would be my prediction. Not that I've got any inside knowledge, but if I were to predict which one would be next, I would say Pheromosa. And there we go. Stage 667. Not too hard. It's relatively okay with the +5 moves and the Mega Start. Quite easy. Feel free to add in a Disruption Delay. You might just need some slightly higher leveled Pokemon just to be able to S rank it a little bit easier. An A rank's fine, but if you really want to push some of those expert levels, you will be looking to get as many S ranks on these new stages as possible. So, Sandslash. I went in with, I think it's the first time I've used Rayquaza in one of these 30 new main stages. But here we go, we've got Rayquaza. It's got the Shot Out ability, which is very good, and it's also quite good just for getting rid of quite a few Pokemon on the field. As you can see, there are a lot of breakable blocks. I brought Winking Manaphy along just to be able to get rid of as many of them as possible. Ash Greninja, you've seen it. You know what it does. It's good, it works in this scenario. And Volcanion. Volcanion's kind of just a secondary attacker. If it doesn't look like there's any good matches for the Ash Greninja, there's no doubt going to be something good for the Volcanion instead. A match of 4, a match of 5, wouldn't really make a match of 3 with that. And there we go, 3 moves left. It's not too difficult of a stage. Penultimately, here we have Hypno, and you can just kind of see the shadow there of the Shining Xerneas. Hypno is a little bit more tricky than some of the other ones we've had so far. If you actually make a match with the bottom left Hypno just going up, that will get rid of all of the Hypno on the field. I brought along again Rayquaza, very good for getting rid of, because there will be quite a lot of Hypno on the field, although it is temperamental. The very first time I ever played this, it was just a completely clean run through. There were no Hypno on the field except those that were on the starting field. I got no disruptions. Somehow wasn't able to beat it, but got no disruptions. Along with Rayquaza, there's Hypno, Hoopa I mean, we're on the Hypno stage. Hoopa is there, that can put out an awful lot of damage, which is very good with its risk taker ability. If you've got yours switched to typeless combo, you may not necessarily need the Silvally as much as you would in this stage. Silvally is very good with the Dragon of Rayquaza, the Bug of Genesect, and the Dark type of Hoopa. It's not too shabby. It will probably take a couple of turns just to get used to some of the disruptions, but it's good beyond that. It's a relatively fine stage. And 2 little skill boosts with it as well. I don't think I've ever used Hypno in the stage. I did try actually bringing Hypno along and it didn't really work, but if you want to give it a shot, feel free to, well, give it a shot. And lastly here we have the Shining Hoopa. As you can see, not using a complexity -1. Isn't that shocking? It can be done without it. The first time when I didn't use any items, I think I was maybe about 2/3 of the way through its health, which is not too shabby for the final Pokemon we have in the new stages. Celesteela is here, as I mentioned before, that can now be Rise Max leveled. Mine's is only level 9, so still a way to go with some of the new levels it can get to. Mega Aggron, it's super effective. Solgaleo is here as well. It's got the Soul Burst, I think that's the name of its ability. It does more damage for steel types in a combo. It's very good when you've got Registeel, you've got Celesteela, you've got Aggron, although Aggron's pretty much the one that's not got steel in its name. As you can see, there are also quite a few of the Shining Xerneas on the field. If you're going to use the complexity -1, you wouldn't need to bring along the Celesteela. Feel free to just bring something else instead that hits heavy damage, and maybe if you're using the Solgaleo, as long as it's a steel type as well, it should be completely fine. Could be a Dialga, as there are quite a few unbreakable blocks towards the end once its disruption delay does run out. It has relatively high HP for a stage that it's mildly difficult to make any wonderful combos in just because of how many Pokemon are on the field. But it's not that bad with the Celesteela, just being able to get rid of quite a few. You leave it a few turns and then make a good match with it and you can clear quite a lot of the board. So this is one of the first types of disruption, just columns of unbreakable blocks with a Xerneas in the middle. It's really not that hard to get rid of, they're okay, it's more when the later ones come in and very occasionally there's a shiny Vettel thrown onto the stage. It becomes slightly harder, but even then, once you've got the Aggron up and running, it's not that shabby, and if you're using a Mega Start, it's a lot easier as well. So here there are quite a few more unbreakable blocks, and they're dotted around. If you make the right formation with the Mega Aggron, you can get rid of all of them. You can get rid of the Xerneas or the Yveltal that comes on the bottom left or right of the screen, depending on which way the blocks are facing. And it's not too bad, it's not too shabby. Did miss out on getting that double combo with the Aggron on the right hand side, but no bother, was able to beat it, 0 moves left. If you want probably an almost guaranteed catch with this Pokemon, use the complexity -1, change out the Celesteela, and give it a shot that way. That will be an almost definite catchability rate that would be very favourable for you. So it would have just been 9%, not good. Did get super catch power up to 59%. I'll throw in a great ball for that. Just to finish off the video, to finish off the 30 main stages, we get a nice tasty catch of the okayish looking Xerneas. It's pretty hard to tell a difference between that one, but attack power 80, exactly the same as the Yveltal. Hyper Drain. Takes a lot of damage for the more HP that your opponent has left. It's fine, it seems a little bit lackluster, but it's relatively okay. You get a nice little raised max level as well into the bargain, and your profile turns gold. But thank you very much for watching, and how do, Mime Artists?
Eggs! Eggs! E-double-G-S eggs!